So often when I read, I just want to get what I really need to know. I just wish I could skip all the stuff I don't need and get straight to what really matters to me. That's definitely the case with this pamphlet on merit-based aid. There are several pages here, and I wish I could just skip all the stuff I don't need and get straight to what I do need. This is probably why so many writers start out with some sort of main idea. That's giving me the point up front. That way, I know whether I want to keep reading and get into the details of what the author is talking about. So why don't all writers just begin and end with the main point? Why write more? One reason, I think, is because the main point on its own just isn't enough. A writer can say, school cafeterias need to give students healthier food choices. If I agree with that statement, and I do, that might be enough. But what if I didn't agree, or I wasn't sure? Then the writer would have to convince me by supporting that statement with facts and details. But often it's the particular details that matter to me most as a reader. That's definitely true with this pamphlet. I'm not reading this because I really care about the main point, which is that merit-based aid options exist. I'm reading this because I want to find the merit-based aid options that can help me. That's what I care about here, the details that can help me. Sometimes I can take shortcuts to the details I care about in a piece of writing. An article might have lots of headings that help me point to the details I most want to find. If I'm reading a textbook, the table of contents and the index might help me find what I'm looking for quickly. But sometimes I don't have those shortcuts, and when I don't, then I need to read. I need to be patient and work my way through the entire piece from the beginning until I find what I'm looking for. I need to recognize and respect the way writing works. I need to concentrate on locating the main points and the supporting details until I get the information I want. I definitely wish whoever had put this pamphlet together had provided more shortcuts. The colors and fonts used are friendly and cheerful, which is why I picked it up. But there could be more headings to help me zero in on what I want. I guess I just need to read until I find something useful. Eventually, I read this paragraph. What about the athlete who wins a scholarship based on his prowess on the football field? What about the single mother who qualifies for tuition remission based on the circumstances of her life? Merit doesn't necessarily need to be academic merit. For example, the single-parent tuition waiver is designed to encourage single parents to attend school by waiving the tuition fee for a certain number of credit hours. In this case, merit is based not on academic achievement, but on the special circumstances of the individual seeking aid. This single-parent tuition waiver is definitely interesting. And this paragraph definitely shows the value of reading closely because the main idea, merit doesn't necessarily need to be academic merit, doesn't pop until the middle of the paragraph. I keep reading though. The single-parent tuition waiver sounds good, but is there more? I find this paragraph a little later on. Some students who qualify for need-based aid still need to hold a part-time job to get by. Some students work in family businesses where their help is needed regardless of the consequences for need-based aid they might otherwise receive. Some students want to stay in their current jobs to maintain business contacts. Whatever the reason, the Working Student Tuition Award exists to assist students who are contributing members of the workforce but need help with school. Here, the main idea of the paragraph doesn't come up until the end of the paragraph. But the detail that interests me is in the first sentence. I definitely need to hold a part-time job to get by, but because of that job, I don't qualify for need-based aid. But maybe I'd qualify for the Working Student Tuition Award? It seems to me that to find the information I need in a piece of writing, there is a process I can go through. But I also need to be patient. And sometimes I'm just going to have to put in the work of reading to really find the information I need. I need to spot the topic of the piece right away. There's no point in reading something that isn't even on the topic I want. Fortunately, the topic is usually easy to spot from the title. I still have to be careful though. I read half of a different pamphlet called Financial Aid for Students before I realized that it all had to do with need-based aid, not all types of aid. I need to find the main idea of the piece. This is usually stated clearly up front, toward the beginning of the piece. I need to look for a topic sentence that seems to state something specific about the topic. That will tell me what the author's main message is. If it doesn't match what I'm looking for, then I might need to look elsewhere. If the topic sentence, for example, seems to be, "Here we will discuss the different types of loans available to students in financial need," then I know this piece isn't for me because I don't want to go the loan route. Are there lots of headings, infographics, or other things that provide clues to what's in specific parts of the piece? Maybe if there are, I can skip ahead to where the information I want is covered. If I'm looking for specific info in a textbook chapter, I should definitely see if I can find that info in the index or table of contents. If there are shortcuts in a piece, then I should take advantage of them. If the topic and main idea of a piece seem right for what I need, but I haven't found a shortcut to the info I want, then I need to read the piece. It takes time and patience, but sometimes careful reading is the only way to find the really useful information. And reading through an entire piece can also turn up useful info I didn't even know I needed. I do more reading about both the single-parent tuition waiver and the working student tuition award. I qualify for both of these. I complete the applications and send them in as soon as I can. Fortunately, it doesn't take long to be approved. What a relief! With both to help me, I can just make it financially. It's going to be tight, but then it was tight before. I'm used to that by now. I didn't like all the reading I had to do for this, but I'm glad I did it. Without digging into the information I had and finding the details I needed, I'd never know these other kinds of aid even existed. I think a lesson for me here is that the school isn't going to make it easy for me to get the help I need. That's why I need to take the initiative to figure out my options on my own. Nice work! You've completed this section. You can move on to the next section.